What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Nerdy Basement Podcast. I'm Eddie, and I'm with the amazing Steve Orlando.
Hey, what's going on?
So, Steve, we're going to go right into it. I got to ask you, what are some of the challenges that you had to overcome to represent this community in all your comics that you've been writing?
I mean, a lot of it is realizing your limitations, to be honest. You know, there's a lot of pressure because we haven't had a lot of representation for a relatively long time to want every book you do to be everything to everyone. But the real obligation is to just do respectful portrayals that, create one story and one character that is layered and rich like people are in real life, and then you keep doing it again, you do it again, you do it again. So the real obligation is to the character and making things authentic, and then you just have to make sure that you're still doing that and you keep doing it over and over again. So because no one character can be everything to everyone, and there's no one mono myth when it comes to queer community. So you want to do that in many ways because you want to give people what they've been waiting for, but what they really want is rich, respectful representation. So it's more work and it takes more time and there's still a lot more work to do, but that's how you actually get it done.
Yeah. So going into it, so when you created Midnighter and Apollo, what was the inspiration for them to give you, give the best representation there? Because they're some of the most well-known characters for the gay community. It's
I didn't create Midnight and Apollo, there is that. They were created by Warren Ellis and Brian Hitch and the Authority.
But you wrote some of their stuff recently.
I did introduce them into the DC in the first ongoing in the DC universe.
So that's what.
And the obligation was exactly what I said before. You know, like Midnighter is one person, and he's not even. He's an extremely violent, sort of broken person.
Yeah.
So the obligation, the thought process was to present his queerness as a proud part of his character, something that we don't shy away from. But it's also not the whole of his character. Like any of us, he has parts of his life that are not directly related to his queerness, and when it does come into play, it's a part of the book that we're confident about. It's a part of the book that we're proud of, and it stands toe to toe with any other part of his life. So we essentially, I don't want a spotlight on myself walking down the street that just says, look at this bisexual person. So the idea was that we want to do a book that is very confident about what Midnight and Apollo have, but it's also a great action book. It's also a superhero book, and all of those things are done with the same respect and authenticity.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. So right now, that you're currently writing, finishing up Martian Manhunter.
Yes.
So on top of him, you wrote some of the best characters around, and one of the best Wonder Woman runs, for a short run. On top of it, I got some of the stuff signed, by the way. And so when you take a lot of these iconic characters, what is your envision what stories are you trying to portray here? Are you linking anything for the community, or you're just trying to give the best story possible?
It's always about giving the best story possible. The core of the character comes first, and it often happens that there are things that are relatable to the queer community. John Jones's journey in Martian Manhunter with dealing with the secret that has inside him seemed naturally analogous to me to making Diane Mead bisexual, because like me, like many people, if she's in a heteronormative, or I should say a heterosexual relationship, she's still bisexual, she's still queer, but she knows what it's like to walk around and pass, essentially, and have the thing inside you that you wrestle with, that you have to be proud of and you have to integrate into your personality. Her journey is in many ways the same as that of Martian Manhunter's, and so there was an opportunity to reflect something and show a universality to this concept of pride. And likewise with Wonder Woman, she's a character for whom love and compassion come first. So many times these stories connect with the queer community, but the key is always to tell the best story possible. When I was on Wonder Woman in the past, her unrelenting compassion was key to the character. And when I take it over in October, it's still going to be key to the character. Because the fact is that we live in a time that empathy is sorely lacking. And so someone who is aggressively empathetic, subversively, radically so, I think is actually more important than ever.
So that's going to lead into my next question. So your upcoming projects, you just mentioned Wonder Woman in October. Is there any type of teaser you can give us right now, or any little tidbits?
Sure. Well, starting with Wonder Woman Annual number 3 sort of kicks off all of our major storylines in many ways. We're going to have We're going to be picking up Year of the Villain stuff with Cheetah. We're going to be picking up Event Leviathan stuff with Steve Trevor. But most of all, Wonder Woman and one of her iconic villains are going to come face to face, and they haven't met each other in a long, long time. And it's going to culminate in a story that is, I think, the biggest version of what we did in my first run of Wonder Woman, which is big, love-driven, compassion-driven storytelling, but it's also big superhero action. My Wonder Woman run in the past has largely been, it is a superhero book, and this is going to be a superhero book going forward. Because I think it's great to see her in the real world. I love what Willow has done. I love what Rucka did. I love what Shea Fontana did when it comes to her origins in the Greek myth. But I think in the present moment, a character, again, who was so unrelenting in her insistence on feeling and empathizing with those around her, you got to put that in the real world, because that's something that is extremely, extremely radical right now.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Steve. Really appreciate the
pleasure.
interview. Thank you so much. Guys, if you haven't read anything from Steve, you're crazy. Read it. It's amazing. Thank you again. Appreciate it, man.
You got it.